Again, we are just really excited that you guys are here tonight, and congratulations, your child is going to high school. This might be the first time that your student is actually joining high school, but no fear, we are going to welcome them with open arms, and we are just thrilled that they are going to become a part of our Wildcat family and a part of Wildcat country. And so we really look forward to having your student with us in the fall, and so we're excited for them to come to West Johnston. And I wanted to just kind of introduce our administration. So we have a wonderful, fearless leader and our principal, and her name is Jennifer Swartz. And so if you get our Connect Ed calls by chance, she is the one whose voice you hear on those Connect Ed calls. And then hopefully you'll have an opportunity to get to meet her at some of our upcoming events, and hopefully even at our orientation that we'll have coming up too. And so Jennifer Swartz is our principal. And then we also have some amazing assistant principals. And so we have Miss Tamara Barber, and she oversees 12th grade. We have Chris Latimer, who oversees 11th grade. We have Beth Ryan, who oversees 10th grade. And then we have Sarah Lewis, and she oversees 9th grade currently. And so I'm not sure if any of our APs are currently on at the moment, but if any of them are, would they like to jump in? I don't know if I see any of them on. No? Okay. And then your counselors. So like I mentioned before, my name is Laurel Freeman, and I see students with the last names G through M. And then our other counselors are Katie McAnally, and she sees students with the last names A through F. And then our other counselor is Dwynell Crease, and she sees students with the last name N through Z. And then Deborah Burns is actually our career development counselor. And she is kind of heads up like our CTE, career and technical education, like internships and job opportunities and all things related to careers. So we are your counselors at West Johnston High School. And then I'm going to go ahead and transition it over to Miss Crease, and she is actually going to walk through just some additional information about high school and just entering into West Johnston. So take it away, Miss Crease.
Good evening, parents, and thank you for joining us again this evening. And beginning with the end in mind, I wanted to share, and of course, our ultimate goal is graduation. So I wanted to share with you the courses that are required for graduation. 28 credits are required for graduation. 4 English credits. Usually students will take 1 English class every year. So typically freshman students take English 1, 10th grade English 2, 11th English 3, and then senior year English 4. We do have some students taking English 1 and Math 1 in 8th grade now. So they will start with the next level English and the next level Math. So, and we always make sure that those students are correctly placed in the appropriate English and Math classes. For our Math classes, again, 4 Math classes are required for graduation. Students are required to take Math 1, 2, and 3. After Math 3, students have options. They can take Math 4, they can take pre-calculus, they can take CCP classes through a community college to satisfy that 4th Math requirement. Students can also do what we call Math substitution. And Math substitution, we have several courses that students can use to substitute for that 4th Math class in lieu of taking an actual Math class. For example, our Carpentry 1 class or our Microsoft Excel class substitute as a Math class. However, students utilizing that substitution option are not eligible to apply for a 4-year college or university. This is only an option that we use for students who are really not good at math and would struggle with a 4th level math course. Our social studies, students are required 4 social studies. They're required to take 4 social studies courses. Freshman year, it's usually world history. 10th grade will be American history. 11th grade economics and personal finance, and their senior year, they'd be taking civic literacy. 3 science classes are required for graduation, an earth science class, biology, and a physical science. Then students have an opportunity to choose 12 elective credits. And this is where they have the most flexibility in selecting courses. They get to choose 12 elective class over the period of 4 years to learn things that they've never learned about, maybe even to learn things about a specific career that they'd like to pursue. Then last but not least, it's a PE class, and 1 PE class is required for graduation. It's a health and PE, and that class is usually offered to students during the 9th grade year. So for a total of 28 credits. I would say that what we do here at the school is we try to make sure that our students, and when you hear the word core classes, we're really referring to English, math, science, and social studies. We try to make sure that those classes are always scheduled for students. Now, it's the elective classes that students have to have choices in making decisions about which elective classes they take. When it comes to the placement into these core classes, we have an honors level and a standard level class. We have a process that we use data to place students into honors or standard level classes. But if for some reason you believe that your child is incorrectly placed, you can always let us know, and we do have a process in place to review their placement. As students transition to high school, it is uniquely different than middle school. The middle school follow a modified traditional schedule, but at the high school level at West Johnston, we follow a block schedule style. And with a block schedule, students take 4 classes per semester. It's 4 classes in the first semester, 4 classes in the second semester. And they earn 1 credit per class, and each class lasts about 90 minutes long. I think the biggest adjustments for students is the pace of the course. The courses are we start the class, first semester starts in August, and usually at the end of December or in January is when the first semester ends. They earn 4 classes then, 4 classes, 4 credits. And then the second semester starts in January, and it goes from January to the beginning of June, and you earn an additional 4 classes. So 8 classes per school year. So if you do the calculation, students can earn as much as 32 credits a year, over the period of 4 years. And they only need 28 to graduate. So students can essentially graduate after the first semester senior year. Now, when it comes to the classes, our classes, that's one of the biggest adjustments that we find that our students have, that they're sitting in a class for about 90 minutes. That's an hour and a half. It's definitely different than a 45-minute class that they're accustomed to in middle school. And the classes are more rigorous in the sense that they're learning for the first time new content and new concepts at a higher level. And it definitely requires their commitment and their dedication to doing well in high school, because every credit that they earn is tied to their GPA, their grade point average, which ultimately in the end that becomes important at the end of 4 years. If they're looking at applying to college or looking at competitive jobs or even joining the military. We encourage our students to start practicing their self-advocacy skills starting out in 9th grade. Students are accustomed for their parents to always step in, and we want you to be able to step in. But we also want our students to have an opportunity to practice advocating for themselves. And so we want them to come and to talk to us and to get to know us. And so at the end of 4 years, if we are required to write a letter of recommendation, we know your students and we can write a good letter of recommendation on their behalf because we know them and we can speak to their own self-advocacy skills when we're writing letters of recommendation. We encourage your students to participate, to get involved in different clubs and sports. Even if it's not a club or sport that we offer at West Johnston, there's opportunities to form new clubs that are not available at West Johnston if they're truly interested in that club. And also we have sports, non-traditional sports outside of the school that students can participate in. But we encourage students to get involved and to be to show their Wildcats spirit at West Johnston. So in terms of eligibility, athletic eligibility, students are eligible to participate in any fall sport just based on their promotion to West Johnston. So if your student is at West Johnston in the fall, they are eligible to play a fall sport. To be eligible for a spring sport, your student must pass 3 of their 4 first semester classes to be eligible for a spring sport. We have several fall sports: football, basketball, volleyball, tennis. All of those sports are listed at our school's website, and their tryouts will be also listed there. And so we encourage you to go to the school's website for specific tryout information and dates if your child would like to participate in a fall sport. Also, we have a big event coming up April 23rd. It's the Festival event. And our athletic director and our sports team, the coaches for the various sports, will be at that event to meet with students. So I encourage you to come out to that event. And now I am going to turn it over to Miss McAnally, and she will cover some more opportunities for students to be involved.
Okay, so clubs. I love that Dwynell mentioned about the clubs, that there really is a way that when we have an application process kind of in place for students to start clubs, if there's not something that they maybe see. But as you can see on the screen, these are the list of clubs that we do offer at West Johnston. And I do know that I think it was recently, maybe this semester, we don't have it listed up here because it's new, but one of our students actually started a debate club. And so there's an application process or a form that students can fill out if they're interested in actually starting a club. But these are some of the clubs that we offer. And honestly, we really encourage your student to get involved as soon as they enter into high school. We already are thinking about college, as crazy as that sounds, but colleges are looking for that school involvement, club involvement, community involvement. And as counselors, our main goal is to be really intentional with your student in getting them towards graduation and getting them towards their goal of a 4-year college, getting them towards their goal of a 2-year college, a trade school, or even a career. And so we really just encourage your student to explore some of these club opportunities, get involved in a club, especially when they get involved in a club, they become more of a member of West Johnston and also just become a member of the community because of some of the stuff that our clubs do in the community. So I can't speak to it enough. but it's definitely something that we want your students to get involved in. And then I also wanted to share that our clubs actually happen during the school day. So the way that the schedule works at West Johnston is we actually have a West Success period. And this West Success period is about a 30-minute time during the day that students have for remediation for classes, and they also have for clubs as well. Um, and so, like on Mondays, they would go to their first block for West Success. Tuesdays, they would go to their second block for West Success. And then on Wednesdays, they have homeroom. And so, once a month on a Wednesday during West Success is when clubs are able to meet. So, we do offer that opportunity for students to meet with clubs during the day, especially if they're involved in sports or they have other activities going on in the afternoon. And so that West Success time is built in for the club opportunity, but then again, it is also built in for that remediation opportunity if they're not doing well in their classes. Okay, driver's ed, the most exciting yet scary thing for high school students and being a parent of a high school student. But yes, we do offer driver's ed classes. To be eligible for the driver's ed classes, a student must be 14 and a half years old to participate. There's a lot more information actually on the West Johnston High School website. If you go to our homepage and you kind of like hover over the parent, you'll be able to go to the driver's ed page. And I think the next class that's coming available is potentially in May. And so take an opportunity to look at that, especially when your child is going to be turning 14 and a half and is eligible. Go onto our website, and then our contact, if you have questions or further questions about driver's ed, you can direct those to Christopher Boykin. And his email is actually on the screen and also available on our website as well. Okay, so now we are going to talk about course registration. So the students this year are going to be registering at the schools in PowerSchool. So they're actually going to receive, or may have already received, a registration form from the middle school counselors. If they have not received this, then they will be receiving it soon, but they are actually going to receive a registration form, yes, that looks exactly like this. So make sure that you are on the lookout for that registration form. And like Miss Kreese mentioned earlier, we actually kind of look at the whole picture when we're placing students into our core classes. And so we actually look at different data points, course grades, EOC and EOG testing data, teacher recommendations. We really look at the whole picture with all the data that we've been given to place your student into those standard or those honors level classes. And as she mentioned, if you have concerns over those placements, if you look at your child's schedule when we enter and start in the fall, and you believe that they should be placed into an honors class and they are in a standard class, there is a process that you can fill out a form for us to potentially make those changes. So that is an opportunity. But this elective, the form is really for elective choices. And then just wanted to share kind of some of the middle school visits that we're going to be doing. So McGee's, Crossroads, and Cleveland, they're our main feeder schools. So we are actually going to be doing initial visits to those middle schools. We're actually going to McGee's tomorrow morning, and then we're going to Cleveland next week, so next Tuesday. And those initial visits are just a way for us to introduce ourselves to the kids. We're going to bring a couple more West Johnston representatives with us and just go a little bit more in depth because that's where the majority of our kids are coming from. So that'll be our initial visit with McGee's and Cleveland. And then we are actually going to come back to McGee's and Cleveland to do the registration portion. So we're going to give students time to be able to look through the registration form with you all. And then we're going to be coming back to those schools to actually do the registration in PowerSchool. For our smaller feeder schools, such as Innovation Academy, Four Oaks, and Benson, we are just going to be coming to the schools to specifically register. So hopefully you have received your registration form, or your student has received the registration form from the middle school counselor. And then that is something that you are going to be looking at with your student. And then your student will actually bring that registration form to the computer lab with them when we come to their specific school. So We're coming to Benson on March 22nd to register. We're coming to Innovation Academy March 23rd to register, and then we're still trying to nail down a date with Four Oaks for that registration piece. So those are kind of the dates where we'll be coming to the middle schools. And then I also wanted to mention real quickly before I go into the registration form, if you are designated to come to West Johnston but are trying to transfer to another high school, we still want your student to register for classes at West Johnston just in case they didn't end up transferring in the end. So even if you are planning to transfer to another high school, we still encourage your student to register just so that we have their course request if they end up not transferring in the end. Okay, so the registration form. I know it's a little small, but you will see the kind of big version when you get that from your student. But as we mentioned, core classes, students are going to be placed into that by different data points. But one thing to note is that this is going to be how students select their elective courses to then place those into PowerSchool. So the first thing I want to note is in the bottom right-hand corner of the form, there is a QR code. That QR code directly links to our course catalog for West Johnston. And so that lists out all of the courses that we offer. And all of the courses that we offer to freshmen are going to be listed on this form, but in the QR code, when it takes you to our course catalog, you're going to be able to see all of the classes that we offer. So you might even be looking at some classes that your student might be interested in taking when they become a sophomore or a junior, but the ones that are specifically on the registration form are only offered to our freshmen. But we really encourage you to really look at that course catalog with your student because it offers descriptions of the courses. For example, we had a ton of our students sign up for military science last year because they thought it was a science class or they thought it was learning about the history of military science. And it is actually connected to our Army ROTC program that we have at West Johnston. So we had to do a lot of changes because students didn't necessarily know what military science was. So that's why we encourage your students that if they're actually interested in a class, that they really look at the course description in our catalog to see if that's something they're really interested in. You can also find our course catalog on our website. If you just go to the homepage and hover over student services, it'll take you directly to the course catalog there as well. And then I also wanted to mention, so what students are going to do with their registration form is they are actually going to select 6 electives and they are going to rate them 1 through 6. So electives 1, 2, and 3 are going to be the electives that they really want to try to get into. And then 4, 5, and 6 are going to be the ones that they are still interested in and that they would probably be placed into if we couldn't get them into their first top 3. So we want them to choose 6. And then number them 1 through 6. Also, just to note on the form, beginning band has an asterisk beside it because it is a year-long class. So students are in band in the fall, and then they transition into orchestra in the spring. Another year-long class is going to be that military science and ROTC. They would take military science in the fall and then take the ROTC, which is the Army that we offer at West Johnston in the spring. And then if your student is interested in taking a part 1 and a part 2 of a CTE class, so say that they're interested in animal science 1 and 2, they can absolutely register for that. But they would be taking animal science 1 in the fall and then animal science 2 in the spring. And then just to note that if your student is interested in taking Microsoft Excel, they have to take Microsoft Word before they can take Microsoft Excel. And so these are just course requests. So this is not going to be a final of your student's schedule, but these are just going to be classes that they are going to request. And then based on what your students request is how we build the schedule. That's why it's important that I'm going to reiterate again that your students really look at the courses so that we don't have to make too many changes, but that we're able to see what our students really want and then are able to build our master schedule because of that. Katie and Dwynell, is there anything that I am missing in regards to registration that I forgot to mention?
I think you covered it all. Oh, the only exception I wanted to add was that for those year-long classes, those actually count as two of their elective options. Yes.
Thank you. And then I'm going to go ahead and transfer it over to Miss McAnally.
All right. So just a few things to kind of bring us close to you getting to ask questions. Obviously, tonight we kind of just met in person or online rather to try to get this information to you. But we know it's going to be important for your students to be able to see West Johnston, to come out to the campus. And we just wanted you to know that that is definitely going to happen. We have a freshman orientation in August. So make sure you're watching the West Johnston website and the Google Classroom that we posted at the beginning. We'll post a link again at the end. And that we typically have them out. They get tours by from other students, do activities, get their schedule, and we'll go through the whole thing, get a tour of the school. So, just make sure they're looking out for that. But before we get to there, Ms. Crease kind of alluded to it earlier, we'll be having an event called Westival at West Johnston on April 23rd. So this is actually the 20th anniversary of West Johnston High School, and we're celebrating that by having a community day. Everyone's welcome. There's food, game, entertainment. General admission is free, so you can come out and see shows and, see the different clubs we have, talk to athletics. There will be some things available for purchase, like games and food trucks and stuff like that. But we would encourage anyone to come out, don't have to worry about spending anything, but just to kind of see the clubs and activities that we have available for your child at West Johnston to be a part of, and to just kind of get to know the community a bit better, and, to come out and see the school, because, if you haven't been to the West Johnston campus before, it is a very large campus. I don't remember exactly, but I know it's one of the larger ones in the county, and I believe our building's something like 200,000 square feet. So lots of ground to cover, but really easy to make your way through. So feel free to join us for that. More information about that will be posted on the West Johnston website as the date gets closer. Let's see. As we mentioned before, our counselors are all broken down by last name, student last name. So if you need anything, if you have questions, if you think of something later that we didn't mention tonight that you just need to know, or you have some concerns, you can reach out to us. These are our email addresses. If you have something near you, you can jot them down. So I'm A through F in the alphabet. Ms. Freeman is G through M, and Ms. Crease is N through Z. And then, of course, we have Ms. Burns as our CDC. All of this information is also available on the West Johnston website under the Student Services tab. So if you click there, you can get all of our email addresses, our phone extensions, the fax number for student services, and a whole bunch of probably more information than you wanted to know. Because we want to make sure if you have questions that you get the answers you need. Before we go into Q&A, I just wanted to check with you ladies to see if there's anything else you wanted to add, Ms. Crease or Ms. Freeman.
I don't have anything else to add.
Okay. Nope, I don't think so. Not unless there are some questions that we have maybe missed or need to answer.
So to answer one of the questions about foreign language, we actually would discourage most students, even if we did offer it in 9th grade, we would discourage that, simply because most colleges they want to see that in the last 2 years, because students are going to transition into college and continue on. A lot of college, they're not required to continue on with the language they started with, but many colleges prefer that and look for that. And so we want our students to be able to take that language when we, when students are closer to using it. Let's see, I'm going to go back. The tour before August, we don't have anything formal set up for that right now. You can reach out to the counselor, to your child's counselor, to see, if you're wanting to have a meeting with them or anything like that for more information at the school. That could be a possibility. But right now, we don't have anything before August set up for that, because I don't believe the building is going to be open for Westival, unless Miss Freeman or Nurse Crease, I think it's going to be outdoors only, right?
It is an outdoor event, so the building will not be open for tours.
Okay. There's a question about charter schools. So if your child's in a charter school, then you will have to enroll separately. You'll have to go through the enrollment process, which I believe starts in April. Is that what Miss Applequist said? I believe it's in April or May. And the county has changed how that's happening now. So you wouldn't enroll at West. There's actually going to be a central enrollment done through the county, and then they will get your stuff sent to the high school. So if you go to a charter school and you're looking to come, move over to West, then you'll have that process. And if you have specific questions, feel free to email us and we can get that to you kind of more in detail to your specific situation. All right, so I saw a question. There we go. CCP. So for you veteran parents, you are probably more aware of CCP. For our new high school parents, CCP is the Career and College Promise Program, which is a dual enrollment program through the community colleges where students can earn both high school and college credit at the same time. According to the state, CCP is open for 9th through 10th graders. However, Johnston Community College is very restrictive with the students that they take in 9th and 10th grade. JCC will only allow students who are in AIG and have college benchmark scores. However, if you're truly interested in doing CCP from the 9th grade level, we can help you through if you meet the requirements for JCC, but CCP isn't restricted to one single college. You can do CCP through any community college in the state. And so, we have plenty of students at West Johnston who go to Wake Tech and they do their CCP courses through Wake Tech. And for freshmen and sophomores who can't drive yet, there are online options and that they could take those while they're at West and, go into a computer lab or, we'll find a space for them so that they can do those classes. But if you do choose to go the CCP route, just make sure you're in contact with one of us so we know that we can get their schedule set, because it involves a little bit of balancing between the community college schedule and the high school schedule to make sure they line up. So, don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions about that. All right. So color guard for tryout. Color guard is actually a class. When your child gets the registration form, you'll see that color guard and winter guard are choices, and you can sign up for both of those to take it year round. Typically, I think winter guard might be the one that has
the
tryouts. And Mr. Mead would be your contact for that, and we can help you get in touch with him if you have specific questions about color guard and winter guard. Dance is a semester-long course, so your student can sign up, though. There's a question: is dance one of the classes that goes all year long? It's by semester, and your child can take just dance beginning, or they could sign up to do beginning and intermediate in the same year. So that's not required to be year long, but it is an option. I see Ms. Crease, you answered that question. It's plenty of great questions in the Q&A. If there's anyone who has, questions that would like to ask on mic, you feel free to do so. I know for some folks it's easy it's easier than typing. Is cross country at West Johnston? Yes, we do have
Yes.
cross country. I have a lot of respect for all of our kids who choose to do cross country, because I have strong feelings about running. And they're not good ones. What other questions do we have?
It looks like there was a question, let's see, in the Q&A, and I know this was asked on the Padlet too, if your child is taking Math 1 and English 1 in middle school. So if your child is taking Math 1 and English 1 in middle school for high school credit, then yes, they will enter into high school with those 2 credits, and then would be placed into Math 2 standard or honors, and then English 2 standard or honors. And that actually goes towards the 4 English and the 4 math that they need for high school graduation requirements. So yes, if they are taking Math 1 and English 1 for high school credit in middle school, those will transfer into high school with them.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that during, most likely we have, or usually we have a parent session during freshman orientation to kind of give you a little bit more details about the getting started in high school. Right now, we just want to make sure you can kind of get through that transition and have the information you need in your pocket to start planning for the classes that your child will be signing up for. Before we go this evening, I would ask for you all to, before you run away, I know everybody is probably sick to death of surveys, but we're trying to, get some data on, I'm sorry, trying to do too many tabs at once. There we go. Just trying to get some data on, how helpful these presentations are and kind of the delivery format in the future. I know there's a lot of change going on, going back from a COVID everything virtual world to a finally being able to do in person, but also trying to meet the needs of working parents who may not be able to rush from one place to another. So just trying to get feedback on what type of delivery models most helpful for you, if you got the information you needed. Is there any other questions that we're missing, or anything we didn't go over that you'd like to know to help prepare your 9th grader for registering? Wow, we must have done an amazing job. Yes, we will be posting this presentation online, so it can be anyone who wasn't able to make it tonight, or if you feel like we just took a whole lot of information and threw it at you, and right now you're trying to juggle it and make sense of it, you can go back, you can pause and rewind and watch it as many times as you'd like. We will post it. It'll be posted on the school website under the student services tab. There'll be a menu there for it to go into. If you know of other parents who did not get the information about tonight, because that's one thing we're always trying to figure out, is how we can better get information to you guys as middle school parents. Pass it on to them and let them know. It should be posted tomorrow to the school website for them to view. And if they have any questions, please don't hesitate to email us. I know we said that, but we really do, we want to make sure that you feel comfortable with your child coming to high school, and that your child feels comfortable, and that they're